Then we hear from a returning, or at least in video package form, Shinsuke Nakamura, who says, there's a lot of talk about the Tongans and MFTs. You need to remember who I am. I am the king of strong style, the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura. He says, I am back, and this time I will not be alone. And then he ends by saying, here's your warning. You are running out of time, which heavily reads to me as a Hiromu Takahashi tease, and I'm sure that was the intent. So, if it is in fact Hiromu, Neil, they seem to be putting him right onto the main roster. And do you feel confident about that or that move, or would you have suggested a run in NXT?
No, I just think at his age, what's really the point in an NXT run at this stage? It makes all the sense in the world to pair him up with Shinsuke, and they can allude as in the way that they do, at least, we know each other from Japan, without kind of naming promotions and titles and things like that. So yeah, I just think you guys have been talking about, Hiromu being in the wind, that he's going to land at some point. So yeah, I don't see any value in an NXT run here, even if it is for sort of production purposes, kind of, by the way, here's where the hard cam is and all of that kind of nonsense that they sometimes use an excuse for. Shinsuke can, take him under his wing in that sense too. I think, in a real sense, outside of TV programming and they know each other well. It's good pairing. I think it has the makings of something interesting.
Yeah, I'm certainly curious about like how they decide whether or not somebody needs an NXT run versus like a Royce Keys or like a Danhausen that they just like feel confident enough to immediately put up there. In the case of Hiromu, I could see arguments for both. I could see the argument that, hey, like I certainly don't know what the standard of his English promo is, and like therefore is NXT simply like like a right path for him to be able to work on that the way that like they've attempted to do with all the other Japanese wrestlers in the past, right? The argument for is that, well, number one, you kind of have Evil in like the Japanese role right now, and I guess like I don't know, like you can only have one Japanese person at a time, I suppose. Number two, charismatically, like it doesn't matter how good his English promo is, he should be able to connect based off of that alone. You're talking about like, well, at one time, two of the most charismatic wrestlers to come out of the modern Japanese wrestling scene, pairing them together in Nakamura and Hiromu Takahashi. So I think so much of it will have to come down to presentation. I don't know if Hiromu is like exactly a big enough name that would like immediately garner like a massive reaction upon entrance. But I mean, we could be surprised. I think we're all surprised a little bit by AJ Styles, of course. Will Hiromu have even a slightly similar effect? I mean, that seems to be teased here, and we'll find out soon enough.
I don't think he'll reach the AJ level at all, because he didn't have the TNA kind of DNA of any of that. Yeah. But if it's a smart crowd, that he comes out to, and if it's Boston next week, for example, I think people will know who he is. You mightn't quite get the holy shit, giant holy shit chant, but I think there'll be some reaction.
Yeah.
Who owns the rights to Daryl? That's what I want to know. Will he make the leap as well, or
so the toy Daryl is actually like, I mean, it's an actual like branded thing before I think Hiromu had it, and therefore I don't think it's like it's not an original creation.
Okay, well then he won't, because WWE can't sell it.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
they'd create their own, in due time. I just like I'm very curious to just know about. First of all, watch it's not going to be Hiromu. It's going to be like, it's going to be Kushida.
Of course.
It's going to be it's going to be somebody else with time attached to it. But in like I just imagine Triple H in him coaching Hiromu on his entrance, and like what Triple H is just like thinking about,
yeah, and then it's up and then fucking turn and.
Yeah, imagine like Triple H coaching Hiromu Takahashi on his entrance. That's just amazing. Okay, so that might be happening soon enough.
We are wrapping up the summer big on the Post Wrestling Cafe as John Pollock and Neil Flanagan are flying to London, England for live on-the-ground coverage of AEW All in London. Also this month, we conclude our reviews of Dark Side of the Ring and WWE Unreal Season 3, reviews of ROH's Death Before Dishonor and TNA Lockdown. Rewind Away will cover the WWF Aggression album, and Book Club will cover Total Nonstop Agony by Vince Russo. Sign up now at postwrestlingcafe.com.